Hello and welcome to Chart of the Day Cafe for Tuesday, November 13th, 2018. Just going to read our disclaimer quickly. Trading stocks is a high level of risk and viewers should complete their own due diligence on any stock or underlying that they intend to own. 100% of the content of this video and communique is intended for journalistic and educational purposes only. This video and all indicators, strategies, and articles herein should not be construed as investment advice. Always for your further homework. Good morning, Sue here. Hope you had a great weekend. Lots going on in the market. So with that, let's get straight into today's video. If you know me, you know I always start my videos off with a look at the Russell Index, specifically the IWM, which is the ETF that represents the Russell 2000. And I like to step back and take a look at it on a bigger 5-year monthly time frame. That way I can sort of see the trend a little bit better. And as we've been talking about lately in my videos, you can see that the IWM or the Russell Index hit this low back in 2016. Now this is just the 5-year chart. And these are monthly candles, but you can see it hit this low and then picked up our 8-day EMA, which is the blue line, and trended higher, higher, higher until last month, where for the first time ever it closed below the 8-day EMA on my monthly chart and is sitting right here at this area of support resistance. So far it's held up as support, but that was a lot of volume, and that created a little bit of a shot across the bow in the markets, at least to my mind, in terms of will this support hold or will it start to trade lower? We're just going to have to wait and see. Having said that, there is quite a bit of support over here on the Russell, so we'll see how it resolves itself over in this area. So that's why I like to take a look at things on the big 5-year monthly. So for me, it's no longer trending higher. It closed below the 8-day EMA on the monthly, and it's got some proving to do in this area before that uptrend is intact again. So let's take a look at it on move away from the 5-year monthly to the 1-year weekly. And again, I just use the 8-day EMA as my simple guide. You can see that we're at our identified area of support, this purple line. You can see the way it danced around this area and consolidated earlier in the year. You can see how it's tried in the last couple of weeks, but what I want to see is a nice bullish candle on the week that starts to engulf my 8-day EMA, and I want to see that EMA ticking or leaning a little bit higher. So we haven't seen that yet. The 8-day EMA is still leaning lower, although it looks like it's trying. A couple of weeks ago we had this nice bullish candle that held our line of support. Last week it came in, and this is where we are so far for this week. So will we respect the bottom of this candle over here? Time will tell, we'll just have to see. So that's the weekly look, but worth noting it is trading below that 8-day EMA. So let's go even closer and zoom in on the 6-month daily. Same purple line, same area of consolidation, trading below that 8-day EMA. It looks like we're going to get a little bit of a bounce this morning. The futures are positive. So will we be able to create a higher low here and a move higher, or will the selling continue? We'll just have to wait and see. I put these videos out every Tuesday and Thursday. So in the event that we get a positive day today, I'm just going to highlight an old Chart of the Day Cafe pick that I think might be worth keeping an eye on in this area. And that chart that I wanted to highlight for you this morning is VALE, ticker symbol VALE, trades on the New York Stock Exchange. Before I get into the chart, let me tell you a little bit more about the company. This is an old Chart of the Day Cafe pick. It's not a new one. And they're a Brazilian metals and mining company, a very big Brazilian metals and mining company. You know me at Chart of the Day Cafe, I am all about the fundamentals underneath my charts, and I can tell you that VALE has an excellent, excellent value score, along with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 21%, a current PE of 8.76, and a dividend yield of 3.53%. All of those things that I look for. So I like this chart. So let's go back to the chart. We're looking at the 5-year monthly chart for VALE. As you can see, just like the Russell, it hit this bottom in 2016 and has been trending higher ever since. These green circles are other times when I've put VALE forward at Chart of the Day Cafe. So originally it was back here in mid-2017, bouncing off this line of support, continued higher, mentioned it here, and I am going to mention it. I mentioned it here as well. There's a little green circle there, and it's going to be worth a mention in this area here. So that's the monthly chart. The takeaway is that it's in an uptrend. On the 5-year chart, it has been consolidating through much of 2018. We had a doji last month, which is an undecided candle with a wick at the top and a wick at the bottom and a smaller body. We've come in to an area that might be interesting for VALE here. So let's move away from the monthly to the 1-year weekly. So I'm choosing VALE as one to keep an eye on because of the price strength that it's showed this year. It bounced off this area, our line of support resistance, had a strong bar, and it's been kind of consolidating sideways. I see a little area of support in here, so should the markets recover and this little bounce that we're getting this morning have some follow through to it, I think VALE is one to keep an eye on, especially with those scores, the sector that it's in, and that dividend yield. So this is the weekly look. We can see that it's trading below the 8-day EMA on the weekly. And now let me swap it over to the daily. Here's the daily. For me, if you know me, it's all about price being up and over the blue, but I like the look of this chart. I like the way it traded off the trend line and in a positive market. Should the markets overall, because it's all about the markets overall, 80% of stocks trade with the market. So if the markets start to recover, I'll be looking for VALE to start to move up and over and capture my blue 8-day EMA, in which case I'm interested. So early, but one to keep an eye on with those scores and the look of this chart, at least to me. Along with the chart that I'm reviewing, I also like to take a look at the sector that it's in, and because VALE is a big producer of iron ore pellets and supplies to the steel industry, we are looking at SLX, which is the ETF for the steel industry. We're looking at the 5-year monthly chart, bear chart. You can see that like the others, it bottomed in 2016, trended higher through 16, 17. It's been trending a little lower in 18, but should the markets overall start to recover, I would think that this steel ETF would recover as well. So interesting, a little bit of a slow 2018, but for the most part, a gradual uptrend. And should the markets recover, I would expect that this ETF will recover as well. Along with that, let's go look at XLB, which is the materials ETF. We're looking at 2 ETFs. 5-year monthly chart, bottoms in 2016, picks up our 8-day EMA, trends higher, had a really rough month of October. Here we are for November, like the IWM. So far, it's being able to trade above this area of support resistance. We'll see in the weeks and days ahead, but always good to know. I also like to take a look at seasonality. I love equityclock.com. It's an excellent site. Can't say enough about it. They show all of these seasonal charts for just about any company that you're interested in. Here's the one for VALE. As you can see that it's got seasonal favor at this time of year. No guarantee that happens again this year, but always good to know. One more thing, I also like to spin over to finbiz.com and take a look at analysts' opinion of my new watch list pick. And as you can see, it had a recent downgrade. For the most part, they're pretty positive. But this is a site worth checking, and I always like to see what analysts are thinking about my pick. So a little bit neutral. I'll let you decide on whether you think this is important or not. And so to quickly recap, let's go back and check the boxes like I always do. First item is the market in an uptrend? And this box is not checked. Very important to note. Normally I like to check that box. But as we noted in our video, the month of October was a rough one. We closed below the 8-day EMA. On the monthly chart, we're sitting in an area that might offer support, but this box is not checked. The market is no longer in an uptrend. It's got some work to do to recover that uptrend. We looked at this sector ETF for VALE, SLX, the steel ETF, and the materials ETF. And we noted that they're, for the most part, in a gentle uptrend, trading a little bit sideways through 18, but should the markets pick up overall, I would expect these would pick up as well. We looked at the 5-year chart for VALE, and we note that VALE itself is in a really beautiful uptrend. It has been consolidating in 2018, but it's in an area where should the markets pick up, I would expect VALE to do the same. VALE has an excellent value score. Sometimes I say good, sometimes I say great. This is excellent, really excellent value score. a great growth score with a forecasted earnings growth rate going forward of 21%, a current dividend yield of 3.53%. I look for price to move up and over the 8-day EMA and get a 3 and 8 EMA daily cross up. It does not have that yet, so this is not checked. It's got seasonality in its favor. We looked at that chart from Equity Clock. Analyst support, I'll let you decide. I'm not checking the box, that's for you, because it had a recent downgrade. I think it's fine, but I'm going to let you decide. Got a current PE of 8.76, and it looks as though their next earnings date is February 26th. With that, I'll leave you. Have a good next couple of days, and my next video goes out on Thursday. Thanks for watching.